You are driving down the interstate. The low fuel warning light has been glaring at you from the dashboard for the last 20 miles, and you are playing that highly dangerous game of chicken with your gas gauge. You tell yourself you can make it to the next exit or the next town just to save a few cents a gallon at a cheaper station. But right now, at this very second, inside your gas tank, a slow and incredibly expensive death is happening to your fuel pump. A modern fuel pump is essentially a highly engineered, high-speed electric motor that is completely submerged in gasoline, and it relies heavily on that surrounding liquid fuel to keep it cool and lubricated. When you run your tank down to the absolute bottom, that pump is suddenly exposed to the air and begins overheating almost instantly. Not only that, but over years of normal driving, the bottom of your gas tank naturally becomes a swamp of microscopic rust particles, dirt from underground gas station storage tanks, and normal water condensation. When you are running on empty fumes, your pump is forced to suck up that dense, abrasive sludge. This harsh mixture quickly clogs your primary fuel filter and can push microscopic debris straight into your delicate fuel injectors, causing permanent damage. But the worst damage is to the pump itself. The thermal stress from running dry drastically shortens its lifespan, leading to a premature and sudden failure. Replacing a burnt-out fuel pump is a massive, labor-intensive job that often requires dropping the entire rear subframe or exhaust system, easily costing you $1,000 or more. The smartest, zero-cost mindset shift you can make today is treating the quarter tank mark on your fuel gauge as your new absolute empty. Fill up when you hit a quarter tank. Keep that electric pump submerged and cool. Minimize the amount of bottom sludge it sucks up, and save yourself a massive repair bill down the road. And while we are talking about what actually goes into your tank, we need to have a serious conversation about fuel quality. It is incredibly tempting to always pull into the absolute cheapest, no-name gas station on the corner to save a few bucks, but by doing that, you are actually starving your engine internals of essential cleaning agents. Top-tier fuels from major reputable brands contain specific, highly engineered additive packages and strong detergents that actively clean your intake valves, fuel injectors, and combustion chambers while you commute. Cheap discount gas simply does not have these robust protections. Over time, running cheap fuel leads to severe carbon buildup inside the engine. This heavy carbon buildup gets red hot and causes pre-ignition, commonly known in the shop as engine knock, which is an absolute poison for your engine internals. Engine knock is the sound of the air and fuel mixture exploding violently before the spark plug even fires, sending massive shock waves through your pistons and connecting rods. If your owner's manual says your turbocharged 4-cylinder or your high-compression V8 requires premium 91 or 93 octane fuel, you must use it without exception. Even if your daily driver takes standard 87 octane, always try to use high-quality, name-brand fuel with good detergents. Some people try to cheat this by pouring cheap, unapproved aftermarket additives into their tank, but in modern direct-injected engines, this can often do significantly more harm than good by fouling up the sensitive oxygen sensors. Once you start hearing that metallic pinging or knocking sound under heavy acceleration, you are already losing engine compression and doing permanent mechanical damage. Before we get into a really common driving habit that is secretly destroying your transmission while you think you are just braking normally, if you are finding this garage talk helpful and want to keep your ride running flawlessly without paying crazy dealership labor rates, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. So, let us talk about your foot on the brake pedal. We all know that riding the brakes all the way down a long mountain pass is terrible because it warps your steel brake rotors and burns up your friction pads. But most drivers have absolutely no idea that being heavy on the brakes has a direct, highly destructive relationship with your automatic transmission. When you are constantly tapping the brakes, resting your heavy foot on the pedal, or aggressively braking at the last second instead of just letting the car coast naturally, your transmission computer is forced to constantly downshift to match the sudden changes in wheel speed. This constant, unnecessary shifting drastically increases the internal friction and the fluid temperatures inside the transmission casing. It puts massive, premature wear on your delicate clutch packs, your planetary gears, and your shift solenoids. In the automotive engineering world, there is a golden rule. A stressed system always transfers the load to another system. By constantly interrupting your vehicle's natural forward momentum, your engine and transmission are forced to work overtime just to balance out the erratic load you are creating. You need to learn to look further down the highway, leave plenty of following distance between you and the car in front of you, and let the vehicle's heavy momentum do the work. Coasting smoothly instead of braking hard keeps your transmission fluid cool and saves your internal clutches from early, catastrophic failure. Now, here is a fresh mistake I see constantly, especially on freezing cold winter mornings. You fire up the car, it is 20 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and you instantly rev the engine up to 3,000 or 4,000 RPM in the driveway to try and warm up the cabin heater faster. This is pure mechanical torture for your motor. When your car sits overnight in the cold, all the engine oil drains completely out of the top end and pools down in the oil pan. When you turn the ignition key, the mechanical oil pump needs several critical seconds to push that thick, cold oil all the way up through the block to the cylinder head, the camshaft lobes, and the complex valve train. If you aggressively rev the engine before that cold oil has fully circulated and built up proper pressure, you are forcing those raw metal internal components to scrape violently against each other completely dry. The physical metal-on-metal wear that happens in those few seconds of dry revving is mathematically equivalent to hundreds of miles of normal highway driving. It destroys your bearings and stretches your timing chains. Always let your car idle normally for at least 30 seconds to a full minute before you shift it into drive. And deliberately keep your RPMs very low until the engine coolant temperature gauge on your dash starts moving off the cold peg. We are about to get into the absolute worst chain reaction of ignored routine maintenance that will literally force your engine to eat itself from the inside out. But real quick, right before we reveal this critical chronic issue and how to easily stop it in its tracks, make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you do not miss out on our weekly mechanical breakdowns. Alright, let us talk about the domino effect of ignored maintenance. Skipping a scheduled oil change or pushing your old spark plugs another 20,000 miles past their factory limit is not just a minor oversight to save money. It is pulling the pin on a grenade that starts a massive chain reaction of failures. When you stretch your oil change intervals too far, that synthetic oil does not just get dark and dirty. It physically thickens into a heavy sludge and becomes highly acidic. That trapped acid literally eats away at your internal engine seals, your valve cover gaskets, and your timing cover, causing massive oil leaks that drip all over your hot exhaust. Meanwhile, those worn-out, heavily gapped spark plugs start causing microscopic engine misfires. A misfire means the cylinder does not burn the fuel, sending raw, unburned gasoline straight out the exhaust valves where it hits your catalytic converter. Raw fuel superheats the catalytic converter and physically melts the expensive internal precious metal honeycomb structure. Now you are looking at a massive $2,000 exhaust repair just because you wanted to skip a simple $50 spark plug job. And do not even get me started on the engine coolant. Antifreeze does not just prevent the block from cracking in the winter and boiling over in the summer. It contains vital anti-corrosion chemical additives. Your engine is made of dissimilar metals, usually an aluminum cylinder head bolted to a heavy iron block. Over a few years, those protective chemical additives completely break down. That bright green or pink factory coolant turns into a highly acidic, rusty brown swamp water that literally rots your aluminum radiator, eats the fins off your water pump impeller, and destroys your head gaskets from the inside out. This microscopic galvanic corrosion accumulates silently over the years until one day you are stranded on the side of the highway with a blown motor billowing white smoke. The automotive engineers who designed your specific vehicle platform spent millions of dollars calculating that exact Kelley Blue Book maintenance schedule. Follow it religiously. Speaking of ignored fluids, let us talk about a system that almost everyone neglects: your brake fluid. Most average drivers will own a commuter car for 10 years and never once flush the hydraulic brake system. This is terrifying because brake fluid is highly hygroscopic, which is just the scientific way of saying it naturally absorbs moisture straight out of the atmosphere. As water physically builds up in the brake lines and master cylinder over the years, two terrible things happen. First, it rusts your heavy steel brake lines, your expensive ABS module, and your brake calipers from the inside out, causing the pistons to seize up and drag. Second, and much more dangerously, water boils at a drastically lower temperature than pure .3 or .4 brake fluid. If you are coming down a steep mountain road or towing a heavy trailer, the friction heat from the brake pads transfers right into the fluid. If there is old water-logged fluid in there, that trapped water boils instantly into steam. Steam, unlike liquid hydraulic fluid, is completely compressible. The next time you hit the brake pedal to slow down for a sharp curve, the pedal goes straight to the floorboard with zero resistance and you have absolutely no stopping power. Flushing your brake fluid every 2 to 3 years is not an upsell from your mechanic. It is a vital, non-negotiable safety requirement for you and your family. Being a truly meticulous vehicle owner comes down to a fundamental concept I like to call mechanical empathy. It means actually feeling, understanding, and respecting the complex machinery you are operating every single day. It is the simple, mindful things. It means not slamming the heavy car doors so you do not ruin the structural hinges and latch mechanisms. It means not turning the steering wheel all the way to full lock and holding it there tightly so you do not blow out the high-pressure seals in your power steering pump. It means actively listening to the normal sounds your engine makes on your daily commute so you instantly notice when a new tick, whine, or grinding noise appears out of nowhere. Part of this mechanical empathy is keeping absolute pilot-level logs of everything you ever do to the car. Every single oil change, every tire rotation, every brake pad replacement, and every fluid flush should be strictly documented in a binder with the physical receipts. Not only does this keep you perfectly on schedule, but when it comes time to sell or trade in the vehicle, a fully documented, transparent maintenance history proves beyond a shadow of a doubt to the next buyer that the car was truly loved. This instantly boosts its resale value and makes it incredibly easy to sell. You are driving a highly complex, expensive piece of modern engineering. Treat it with respect, drive it smoothly, maintain it strictly, and it will take care of you for hundreds of thousands of miles without leaving you stranded. Automotive longevity is absolutely not about luck. It is about intentional, consistent, and smart daily habits. Stop running your gas tank down to the absolute bare minimum and destroying your fuel pump. Feed your engine the quality top-tier fuel it actually needs to prevent knock. Let the heavy vehicle coast instead of constantly riding the brakes. Respect the cold start warm-up period before you apply heavy throttle. And never, ever ignore your critical lifeblood fluids like engine coolant and brake fluid. The small investments in time, awareness, and basic maintenance today will save you from massive headaches and empty bank accounts tomorrow. Now, I want to hear exactly what is going on in your garage right now. Jump down into the comments section and tell me what the current fuel level is in your daily driver, or let me know what annoying check engine light codes, weird suspension noises, or sudden MPG drops you are currently trying to diagnose. Let us get a massive, helpful diagnostic conversation going down there and help each other figure out these mechanical issues. If you learned something new today, gain some solid mechanical perspective, and want to keep your engine running strong for years to come, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and I will see you all in the next Garage Breakdown. Keep those wrenches turning and drive safe out there.